Masters of the Universe 2026 is directed by Travis Knight. Now, I really loved Bumblebee, so it was a no-brainer for me to watch this movie since I also like He-Man. But I was cautiously optimistic based on the trailers, and I must say, by the power of Grayskull, it's actually pretty good. Now, the story kicks off with Prince Adam. He's on Eternia, his hometown. Him, along with his fellow compatriots, are undergoing training under the guidance of Duncan, also popularly known as Man at Arms. However, Skeletor, who is the main arch nemesis of He Man and his men, will attack Eternia, try to take everything there. So, in order to protect Adam, they teleport him to Earth, him along with the Sword of Power. However, both of them separate. The sword goes to a different place on Earth, and Prince Adam goes to a separate place. And this is where he basically grows up into an adult. However, the thing with He-Man is he's only He-Man with the sword. Without the sword, he's just a regular human living a boring, normal life on Earth. And this is where I think the real acting of Nicholas Goldstein comes in. He really portrayed Prince Adam very well. He showed his subtle nuances like his innocence, his longingness to go back to his roots. I was very convinced with his acting. Now, Adam has no interest in integrating with Earth. He has a few friends, but he has no interest in being part of it or its ecosystem. No, he only wants one thing. He wants to reclaim the sword and hence reclaim his legacy. Now, there's one thing though. I did not like his portrayal of He-Man to the fullest extent. I mean, sure, he was good once he became He-Man. He had the physicality down. He looked the part. Almost. I mean, let's face it, because nobody can truly look like the He-Man from the cartoons or from the toy line. I mean, it's just over the top. But however, even though he got the looks down, his acting could have been slightly better because he portrayed Prince Adam well. But I wish there was some distinction, some sort of difference between his acting as Adam and as He-Man. Once he becomes He-Man, he's still Prince Adam. He still has the same behavior, the same personality. I guess it makes sense, but I still was not satisfied. I wish He-Man had a more distinct personality, a distinct acting, but that was not shown to me. He was just more battle ready, but that's about it. So that was a bit of a letdown to me. Otherwise, his portrayal was pretty good. And also depends what kind of a He-Man are you expecting from this movie. If you're expecting a centuries-old, battle-hardened, war-torn He-Man, that's not what you're going to get here, guys. You're going to get a more a juvenile He-Man, if you will, someone who is just new to the game, who's just learning the ropes. That's the kind of He-Man Nicholas is portrayed here. Now, Eternia as well as Castle Grayskull was amazing. I really liked that they finally show it in all its glory. I mean, it is not some panning, looning, dark screenshot at a distance. No, it's a living, breathing space with actual people populating it. We see how things are there. We see the routines there. We see how the training takes place there. So basically, we got a glimpse of Eternia, which is awesome. And I'm glad we're living in an era where this is possible to bring it, so convincingly onto the screen. And finally, they embrace the absurdity as well as the overtop elements of the Eternia, of He-Man's universe, not just in the characters, but also in the set pieces. And that's a very good thing and really brought the franchise to life. Skeletor was a massive improvement from the previous iteration. In the previous one, he was just an operatic actor, just reading a script and screaming on stage. But in this, he's actually a character. He's like a cartoon character brought directly to screen. His design was perfect. Yeah, they finally got the skull right. And even when he's talking, the subtle details, the smallest details, like his jaws moving when he's talking, everything was just done to perfection. I really loved the presentation of Skeletor in this movie. Now, if you're wondering if Jared Leto is going to ruin this performance, no, you can rest it easy. You can just breathe a sigh of relief because that's not the case. Jared Leto has actually given a very convincing performance as Skeletor. I think he's finally found a role that suits him because remember, he's a good actor, but he's had a bad streak. That's it. But this was pretty good. However, you don't even see him. You don't see Leto at all. It's a mocap performance. You only see Skeletor. And even the only way you can ever find out if Leto played the part is if you pay attention to the tone of his voice. You see slight Leto coming out of there. However, even the voice is highly modulated and altered to sound like Skeletor. So basically, you only see Skeletor. So there's no real problem here. And like I said, he's a massive improvement and definitely worth watching on the screen. And another good thing is Teela and Man at Arms are finally interesting. In the previous iteration, I didn't really care much about them. Honestly, I didn't give a shit. But in this, they were actually important characters. They actually had an arc. They actually had a role to play. They were important support system to He-Man. So they were actually not just running around with him. They were crucial characters. And let's face it, you cannot really go wrong with Idris Elba. I mean, he really knocks it out of the park in any role he plays. Then, of course, the battle scenes, the fight scenes, both on Eternia, maybe and something on Earth, were all done very well. I mean, the movie has a massive budget, so I'm not really surprised they could pull it off well. And even the CGI was flawless. It seamlessly blended in with the characters as well as the set pieces. So I was very happy with the fight scenes. And the best part is the fight scenes weren't down to earth. See, He-Man is not a regular human. Neither are his compatriots. Neither are anybody with him. So I'm glad they showed some superhuman strength. I'm glad they showed the fighting style as well as choreography that's appropriate to the characters and not just some down to earth combat. And that is something that is really good, and I really appreciate it. And of course, this movie was surprisingly funny. There was a lot of funny parts in this movie. I mean, among the different characters, everyone had their funny side, and the jokes landed. I found myself laughing. I found the theater laughing. I expected some light moments, at best, some light moments here and there, and mostly a serious movie with an actual serious stakes. But it was surprisingly very funny. But guess what? It did not. It worked in the favor of the movie. It did not go against the movie. It didn't become the next Thor: Love and Thunder. No, thank God for that. It actually worked in favor of the movie, and it was serious where it needed to be, and I'm really happy for that. It seemed balanced, and that I feel is very important in order to keep the movie interesting. Now, the script was all right in my opinion. I mean, it was not overly complex, overly thought of, but however, I think it suits a franchise such as this. Now, it depends on how you look at Masters of the Universe. Are you looking at this franchise as some origin story for He-Man? It's like how Adam grew up and became He-Man. If you're looking at it as an origin story for the character, I would say it is a bit weak and rushed. However, if you look at Masters of the Universe as a whole, if you look at this franchise as a whole, this script does make sense. When I come to a franchise like this, at least me personally, I don't expect a script that is overly complex, that's overly thought of, that has way too much going for it. No, I expect a script that is simple and something that makes sense and works, and the movie gives that to me, and I'm happy with this. It does justice to the characters to the most extent, and it makes the movie interesting, and that's good enough for me. Now, the one downside to this movie I can say is the characters are just not that interesting. I mean, apart from the mainstays, of course, He-Man and his team, the other characters are just there for the sake of being there. They're ancillary. Like, they don't have real interesting personalities. They don't have any memorable one-liners, any quotes, absolutely nothing. Of course, they do represent diversity in the world of Eternia. Like, it has a very Guardians of the Galaxy, otherworldly vibe. That's a good thing. But the problem is that's all there is to it. I mean, there's nothing memorable. In fact, the moment I walked out of the theater, I forgot about them. I guess only the mainstays were the main focus of this film. I'm not sure if that was by design, but I just felt that the other characters could have had little more screen time, little more relevance, and the script could have made them a little more interesting, give them a better writing. Overall, guys, I had a lot of fun with this movie. It was great. If you love He-Man, you love his world, I would highly recommend you watch this movie, and it's family friendly. So if you want to take your family and friends, your kids, your underage kids, it is totally fine. No, nothing to worry about. You want to have a blast. And I really hope they bring more of He-Man's world into life. For example, he has more villains than Skeletor. I'm not sure he's not the only villain. They bring his other rogue galleries to life. That would be great. His other adventures, probably, as a more experienced warrior, battle-hardened soldier. That would be great. And make sure to turn your brain off when you go into this movie, because it's dumb fun and you will love it and enjoy for what it is, because that's all it is and nothing more. So let me know in the comments below what you think, and do consider liking, sharing, and subscribing, because it means a lot to me. And let's embrace cinema together. And until my next video, bye for now.